Yeah. one of the biggest challenges of managing a fleet of trucks, tractor-trailers, and material handling equipment? Hassling with maintenance, repair, and vehicle breakdown. Transervice's dedicated contract maintenance service, DCM, takes that hassle away. We maintain your fleet, no matter what the configuration, to the highest standards, while giving you the greatest cost control. We offer preventative maintenance executed to maximum utilization, equipment life, and necessary repairs, all tracked by a state-of-the-art paperless computerized system. Assistance with equipment engineering, configuration, including new engine technology, and onboard computers for your fleet, as well as dedicated fleet contract maintenance. Dedicated on-site service facilities staffed with management and certified maintenance technicians, inventories of parts, tires, and fluids, and all necessary shop equipment, diagnostic tools, and technology. Supporting services such as equipment inspections and assistance with meeting regulatory requirements, DOT, OSHA, EPA. Contact us today to learn about our turnkey contract maintenance solutions. It's all about the experience, yours and ours.
Have you seen my kick-ass subscription box anywhere? Oh, there it is.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dane TV's coverage of the SIM500 Esports Racing League, brought to you by Transervice Transportation and Logistics Solution. Race number 30 on the season and beginning the round of 12. It starts tonight. I'm Kevin England, along with Paul Strickland Jr. to call the action tonight. Paul, this package is going to make for an interesting race tonight.
100% want to give everybody a shout out for tuning in here tonight on Facebook, on YouTube, all the different social media outlets. We're even on Twitch here tonight, which is pretty exciting. And you can see Kevin King and Tommy Ryan up there on the front row. New colors, or a little bit more color there for the 38 car of Chad Coleman. Right outside him, Josh Parker. We saw the Multi-League Cup Series with this exact same package here last Thursday night live on Dane TV. Saw a phenomenal race. Just a couple of quick cautions, single car incidents, but green flag racing. Lots of green flag pit stops and lots of different strategy throughout different tires and fuels and when to come in, this, that, and the other thing. So I think we're in for a treat. I think the fans are in for a treat as well here, Kevin.
Yeah, this racetrack, high, low, through the middle, 3, 4 wide is all possible. And it is one of those, and I'm going to knock on wood, it has a tendency to run green. So we're going to see a lot of racing here tonight. Trey Edson won last week at Bristol, and as of late, he's been getting the pieces together for the puzzle. Kevin Brown, Byron Daly saw their championship hopes come to an end. They were in good standing going into Bristol, but didn't have the night they were looking for, and we'll continue to update you on where they landed for the round as they roll through turns 3, heading to turn 4. The pace car just about to exit the racetrack. Going to turn it over to Kevin King, who won the pole here tonight, and we're looking at 130 laps of action here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
And you can see all the drivers still eligible for that championship, rocking the yellow spoilers, the yellow banner above the windshield. There goes the pace car. He's going to take that left-hand turn. Green flag in the air. Kevin King with the jump that he needs, but he's going to bring that inside line with him. Chad Coleman, Trey Edson right in behind the leader.
Bottom layout lane prevails as they head into turn one. Top three have scooted away. They're side by side for that fourth position. That low line really got a good run, held up there for Tommy Ryan on the outside. Josh Parker wanting to do what he can to go past, but no place to squeeze through. Top 4 or 5 have gone. Parker slips down, and the 81 of Gilliland going to jump to the outside as Kevin King's going to lead lap number 1.
About single file for the front few cars. Now we're 4 wide back here for the bottom half of the 10th position. They think better of it. They're going to go back down to 3 wide. Bobby Wetzel down on the bottom. 23 of Josh Parker in the middle. And Adam Gilliland up top, still 3 wide as they come halfway down the backstretch, heading down into turn number 3 and 4 rather. Josh Parker gets down in front of that 9-car Bobby Wetzel. Back to 2 wide for a second or 2, 3 wide in front of him.
There's so much grip in this racetrack, even though it's hot and greasy, as they're 4 wide back there for about the 10th position. You can run wide open here from the beginning. These drivers will see the air impact their ability to run the racetrack, whatever groove they have, but plenty of grip to run, as we said on the opening, low, middle, or high, and drivers are trying to get all they can right now. It's a dead heat for the lead out front. Here come Edson to the outside.
Oh, a little bit of contact between the leaders, but Trey Edson making that outside work after that contact. Kevin King got a little bit more of an advantage that time by, but they're still door handle to door handle, the 51 to 38. They want to make it a fatal 4-way up front, and that 5th place car, Adam Gilliland, he's up in the mix as well.
Yeah, I don't know how Edson held on to that car. It stepped out just a little bit there in turn 2, but he kept the throttle pinned as Justin Fuller pushes him through. Trey Edson's going to lead this lap for sure. Fuller's going to follow him through. Kevin King tucks back in there for 3rd. I'm thinking King is not going to be happy about that. He probably wanted to get as much clean air as he could. Now he's going to have to fight for it.
100% here at Las Vegas with this package and these Cup cars. Clean air is exactly what the doctor ordered. We saw Thursday night, as soon as one of the drivers got up into the lead, they'd be able to take off by 3, 4, even 10 car lengths. But right here we can see Justin Fuller doing a great job in that 51 personal comfort ride right on right at the tire tracks there of the number 5, the new leader, Trey Edson. So he's doing a little bit of homework here, Kevin, trying to see which line's faster on new tires. And I think as we get on into the tire runs here at Las Vegas, we'll see the right rear tire kind of heat up just a little bit, and we'll see these drivers try different lines throughout the racetrack.
Big crash over in turn number 2. Cars got sideways, starting with Tyler Dalton. It was Kevin Brown up in the air, and he was able to settle down and drive away. We'll go to the Kong Beer Bomb replay for replay number 1 here on lap number 6.
Yeah, and you can see the damage there on the number 93 car of Kevin Brown. Looking like a modified up in the front of the car, but we'll get that Kong Beer Bong instant replay loaded up here. Technical issues with the button box that we got, but we'll get that taken care of hopefully soon. But we'll back this up here in the previous turn of the race here, and you can see exactly what happened, and we're going to follow along with that number 93 car. A wide angle shot here, and you can see 2x2, 3x2, 2x3, lots of racing all the way around the racetrack. 4 wide in front of him. The 19 and the 22 get together, and as the 93 comes on up the track to try and avoid a little bit of calamity there, gets up into the 97. A couple of other cars involved here as well. So that's going to put a lot of heavy damage on a lot of these faster cars that are trapped about mid-pack on back.
Yeah, the good news for these drivers is pace speed here allows a lot of time on pit road to get some damage fixed, but for someone like Kevin Brown, the whole front end of his car is ripped off, and car doesn't run very well with damage. And well, some of these drivers, they're going to start out behind the 8 ball here right in the beginning.
Absolutely, and we can see that it looks like everybody, at least up in the top 17 or so, stayed out on pit road, or stayed out on track rather. Jose Gonzalez in the 26 car, the first car to come down and get service. Looks like he topped off the fuel tank real quick with a 4.9 stop, second stop rather. Scott Simley, same idea, 5.7, and a couple of 2-tire stops back in here as well. So it'll be interesting to see what these drivers towards the back of the pack are able to do with those 2 tires, or if they're just playing the long game. Maybe they're expecting a long green flag stretch here, and they might be able to stretch it out just a few more laps.
Yeah, And looking at who was involved over there, see the 19, the 93, the 22, the 63, the 95, the 47, and more importantly, one of our chase contenders, the 13 of David Comstock, got a little piece of that action over there and suffered some damage. So we're going to have to keep an eye on David's run here tonight. That's not the way he wanted to start his round, as, well, they cannot run 4 wide and anticipate that there's not going to be some elbows up and some contact over there.
100%. We've already seen many different racing grooves, different lines that these drivers are able to put those cars. And I think the further on we get into this race, the more we'll see these drivers kind of experiment a little bit, try and find something that they can utilize on lap 130.
As we said, coming in, Kevin Brown, Byron Daly eliminated. Tommy Ryan and David Comstock, they raced their way. They were out in the event going into Bristol and raced their way in. And then tip of the cap to Jose Gonzalez and Josh Parker for defending their playoff positions as they made the round. As you look at where the point standings shook out from last run, we could confirm that Flockingham, Edson, King, Gilliland, Fuller, Williams, Parker, Gonzalez, Coleman, Comstock, Macklin, and Ryan were the round of 16 drivers that went in. And it's Flockingham, King, Gilliland, Edson, Coleman, Fuller, Macklin, Ryan, Williams, Comstock, Gonzalez, and Parker are the 12 that made it through. They have 3 races to get the job done here at Las Vegas, next week at Talladega, and they're going to cap it off with the Charlotte Roval. So I think a lot of drivers, Paul, this is the race, a common oval, that they want to try and get themselves cemented in.
100% with a multi-league Cup Series on Thursday nights. They follow the same schedule, and we've been kind of coining this round as the Kyle Larson round. 3 very different, unique styles of racing here. We've got the 1.5 mile at Las Vegas, and you made mention Talladega next week, and then the Charlotte Roval after that. And that's 3 very different disciplines that these drivers are going to have to try and conquer, and you want to try and at least get a win here in the SIM500 Cup Series, get yourself moved on to the next round, no matter what happens in the other 2 races. But there's only room for 3 winners, and there's 8 spots moving into the next round. So it's going to be interesting to see who can stay consistent throughout those 3 different styles of racing. And right away, you look up towards the front, and those are names that come to mind: Trey Edson, Justin Fuller, Kevin King, Ryan Macklin, Adam Gillen. Any of these drivers could come home with a win here over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, going back to his interview from last week, Trey Edson said that he didn't have a good beginning of the year, middle of the year, but lately he's just been putting it together, and here he is running out front. And you can look right behind him, the common names: King, Gilliland, Macklin. Haven't heard too much from Daniel Flockingham. Did not have the greatest qualifying effort here tonight, but he's running in ninth, trying to see if he can keep his car clean and make his way up there to contest for the front.
Yeah, watching these drivers in the final practice before the race here, Daniel Flockingham was on top of the boards throughout almost the entire practice session. But like you said, qualifying not as great. Kevin King came home with the pole here tonight, and you can see King still up there in that top 5. Daniel Flockingham coming into the picture on the left-hand or the right-hand side, just starting to break into that bottom half of the top 10. He does have quite a bit of time to go here. We're only working lap number 12, 13 now as we cross the stripe, but still, you don't want to take your time. You don't want to lollygag too much. You want to get up towards the front as quickly as you can.
Yeah, and I mean, you could say what you want about where Flockingham is running. He's inside the top 10. He started 26. He had a qualifying time of 30.964, second slowest of everybody that took time. Not sure if he just made a mistake on that first lap and it was catastrophic or what, but you know, he is making his way through here, and I expect him to make a little bit of noise. He's got plenty of time to get it done. And yeah, these drivers out in the back are elbows up. There is racing going on all over the speedway.
Top 5 or 6 cars now single file, trying to pull away just a little bit from this pack back here, almost like a hornet's nest with all these yellow spoilers, all these championship contenders right up in here in the top 10. And we can see Chad Coleman having a great run in that 38 car, currently holding on to that fifth position, attacking into that 4th position, trying to get around that 81 car of the old Giller, Adam Gill, and doesn't quite have it here, but you can see that top side seems to be coming in just a little bit. As we can see, gets around the 81 car and has enough momentum to come down in front of him to take that 4th position. Now 3 wide in behind him.
Yeah, drivers taking the opportunity to use that high line. It is going to get a little better tire wear from running that line where you're not turning the car down on that right front tire. Tire wear, really important. The other thing is it's a lot smoother up there. This racetrack, especially over here in turns 1 and 2, they're quite bumpy down on the bottom. Not enough to unsettle the car, but it does wear on those tires. Right about now, about lap 20, is when you start to feel that the car will not turn in like it did in the beginning. They can run about 52 laps on a fuel run, thereabouts. So these drivers, they have to have the right pace, but they also have to make sure they take care of their tires.
And you can already see lap 17 on this run. A lot of these drivers are starting to drift up to the middle groove here on the track in each of the corners. So 2 distinct lines coming in, but we've already seen these drivers use the entire racetrack to try and get around in position. And you can see Daniel Flockingham doing just that. Down on the bottom side has Tommy Ryan right up on that middle groove. But past couple of laps, Flockingham's been able to move up a couple of spots. Just lost 7th place back to Tommy Ryan, but slowly trying to make it into the top half of the top 10.
It's a little hard down there on the bottom to make that pass. You really want to let the car roll up out of the corner, and when a car's to your outside, you're unable to do that. If you could slot into a slot and then get the draft of the car in front of you, sometimes you can tuck it down and get that run and make it, and you really have to be on the back bumper through the middle of the back straightaway, for example. You see, when you get a run, these drivers are going to take advantage of it. Josh Parker got a good jaunt up off of turn 4. Now he pulls down underneath Macklin, trying to make that pass right down to the white line, following behind, and Macklin's going to hold him tight. In fact, they're going to body slam each other going through turn 2. So easy to do here, but you can really hold the car.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of instances already here in the first couple of laps here at Las Vegas where these drivers kind of leaning on each other, bouncing off of each other, but they're able to hold on to it. It's a really good package here with these Cup cars and the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You can see things are starting to kind of spread out just a little bit here as we get further into the run. Little 3-way dance here for the 11th position. The 33 car, Byron Daly, trying to hold on to it. E.J. O'Rourke and Bobby Wetzel right in there with him, and you can see pretty much single file. We're getting into that conveyor belt action, easy enough for me to say, part of this run where drivers kind of maybe haven't practiced this long on a set of tires, so they want to make sure they know exactly what the car is going to do as we get further and further on in the run for later on in the race.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks that you really can't drive your way through the field. Now, if you have fresh tires compared to everybody else, you feel like Superman, but as the run goes on, you just really have to take advantage of any opportunity you have where you can draw alongside someone. We see Gilliland moving underneath, trying to get to the 39. Well, I tell you, these two all season long have just been wrapped up. He's underneath the 51, trying to get that run out of turn number 2, tight to the door. The 51, Fuller gets the advantage. He's going to carry the momentum and clear him and hold that 3rd position. The 38 of Chad Coleman right there in the mix. And Flockingham, just, that is so frustrating when you see guys side by side in front of you.
Yeah, knowing that the 39 car is fast, and he knows it as well. He's been practicing and racing that car all week long, and he knows exactly what he can do here. And you can see he's moving a little bit further up the racetrack. A nice wide-angle shot here at Las Vegas, trying to make the magic happen up there. And really seems to know exactly what that car is going to do. But in order to make it do that, you got to have fresh air in front of you, and you got to have the room. So now that it's single file, he's right on the bumper of Chad Coleman in that 38 car. We might see a little bit of magic happen from that 39.
What I know from racing this track several times this week is if you hang in that top line over there in turn 1 and 2, and you stay 3 car lengths off the car behind you or in front of you, that by the middle of the straightaway you could draw up. You get just that little sniff and you could get to the bubble. And I think that's what we saw Daniel do in that last lap. Now this time did not have the aero advantage. Tucked in, looked like he got a little inconsistent over there in turns 1 and 2, and Well, you can see another run forming. Here comes Kevin King to the bottom of Trey Edson, side by side for the lead. King, he's going to take it on the bottom. He'll come out of turn 2 with the lead to the Nellis backstretch.
And that's going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on for later on in the race. He was able to get all the way down to the apron, all the way down to the bottom, and kind of slide back up. But the car on older tires wanted to slide up in itself and keep that bottom side open. So Trey Edson saw that. He pretty much took a mental note of that. Lap 25 here of 130 on the night. A little bit too early to be making moves like that, but that's something to add to the notebook for later on.
And we said it before, King probably happy to be out in fresh air. And the other thing is you can really conserve your tires if you can pick and choose the lane that you want. And like some of the racetracks where the car slides through the corner, let the car go in, wait till it takes a set, ease on the throttle, drive it off. You don't abuse the tires when you're out front because you get to drive where you want to drive.
A little bit of action here right outside the top 10. Byron Daly in 11th. We got about 6 or 7, maybe 8 cars right in a pack here trying to make something happen and get a little bit closer to that top 10. A little bit further on back from the leaders, about 4 seconds or so, but still racing hard all the way around the racetrack.
Yeah, and we have to come back and update that lap 6 incident. There was some attrition from that. Kevin Brown 3 laps down and out of the race. Ron Hollifield, Charles Woods, and David Comstock currently sitting over there in pit road. Not sure if he's trying to affect any repairs, but I think that car is done for the night. Jeff Hollingsworth and Bentley Glazer, both of them retired from the evening, and we now have 27 cars on the lead lap.
27 cars on the lead lap, all led by Kevin King, a familiar line throughout the season. Kevin King coming home with many wins this season. In between he and Daniel Flockingham, I believe they're at 12 races combined. And you can see leading here again as they cross the stripe for lap number 29. Trey Edson right behind him. Chad Coleman having a great run, holding on to the 3rd spot.
7 wins for Flockingham on the season, 4 wins for King, 3 wins for Gilliland, 2 wins for Trey Edson and Josh Parker. They've kind of settled in here single file. The only driver who's still trying to pick and choose is Flockingham to see if he can get through. Such a hard thing to do to try and make your way through. We said before, once these tires level off, you really have to just take advantage of any runs you get. You hold the car down on the bottom like Daniel's doing, and if the guy behind you gets such a good run, he's going to drive around you on the outside. We see the 23 working hard to the door, going down the back straightaway.
Every lap and every corner almost a gamble here at Las Vegas. You can kind of control what your car does and how you want to put it into the corner, but it's real tough to control the other 33 or 34 race cars on track at the same time. So it's really making sure your head's on a swivel, looking around, making sure you're knowing what your surroundings look like, and kind of try and learn early on in the race how the other drivers are going to react to certain scenarios, just so you've got that again in that mental notebook for later on in the race.
Yeah, one quick programming note here for Josh Williams, currently in that 26th position, still on the lead lap, 13 seconds back. Right rear, right side, massive damage to the personal comfort Ford, and Williams is nowhere in touch with anybody else. He's certainly hoping that somewhere along the line there's going to be a yellow before it gets lapped.
Yeah, running about a half a lap down in that 95 car. It's not the place you want to be, especially this early on, looking at about 98 laps to go here. So if he was able to get a caution, we'd be able to get some repairs done to that car, but right now having a long green flag feel right here, a little bit side-by-side battle for 3rd.
Coleman has it, and the 81 is going to take it. It looks like he's got a lot of help from Fuller. Fuller's going to dive down underneath and see if he can shove Gilliland to the outside and sneak in. They're going to be 3 wide now coming out of turn 2 for a moment. Gilliland going to be able to cover that position with the push from the outside lane. 51 did the pushing and got stuck down there, but he's still trying to give it a go if he only had a push partner down there on the bottom.
Yeah, a great opportunity for the personal comfort machines to work together briefly there, but now you can see Josh Parker hooked up to the back. Oh, hooked into the back bumper, sends him on around. Going to be a big hit. Nope, Chad Coleman stays off the wall there in the 38 car. Caution flag is out, and you can see the damage from the push from the bumper of that number 23 car. So it doesn't look like a big hit, but that's going to lose a lot of track position for that 38 crew.
Oh, what a shame. You saw the push, the helpful push from Josh Parker, turned Coleman sideways, collected Fuller, and as we go to the replay, it is so fortunate that these two didn't slide back into the racing groove.
Yeah, this could have been bad news bears for the entire field as this happened up in the top 5. We're actually going to take a look at this from the cockpit of Josh Parker here with the Kong Beer Bong instant replay and show you exactly what happened. And this is nothing malicious from the 23, driver of the 23 rather. It's just something where he wanted to get up in there, help his buddy out, kind of push him up a little bit further towards the lead, and just didn't get too square here. And here's the replay. The 23 closes right in the back bumper of the 38. He sees he's got a little bit of hole in front of him, and you can hear the motor really whining out, gets in there not quite square, and just sends him on around. You can hear him back out the throttle just a little bit, and then the caution flag comes out to slow down the field. So a real tough break for the 38, driver of the 38, Chad Coleman, but gives these drivers an opportunity to come down pit road and get everything worked on for the rest of this run.
And the rest of the field is breathing a sigh of relief here because from the timing standpoint, this is a pretty good time to go get tires. And everybody's going to go in and take 4 tires in fuel. I can't imagine that anybody would try a 2-tire stop. You see a lot of drivers popping in their box. Good entry in. Left side tires now coming on for multiple cars up there in the front. We'll see who's going to win the race off of pit road. Kevin King, good service for that number 1 pit stall. Wow, it is feeding time back there just behind him.
Yeah, the race off of pit road, a big one indeed. It's looking like everybody's right in the 14 to 15 second time frame. So everybody taking 4 tires, like you made mention, Kevin. It's a odd time to try and take 2 tires. Maybe later on in the race, but here the second or third caution. The first time these drivers have really been able to come down and get some service, get some tires, get some fuels, and make any adjustments to themselves, their driving styles, or anything like that. But Kevin King made it off pit road first. Looks like Josh Parker going to be second. Tommy Ryan, Alan Gilliland, and Daniel Flockingham now in the top 5.
Yeah, King maintains that lead. He picked up on lap 25. Nobody stayed out to ride behind the pace car. Everybody would be very welcome up tires. See the 95 of Josh Williams coming off of pit lane over in turn number 2. Quite a bit of work they did to the right rear, getting that car straightened out. We'll see if he ducks back in and gets a little more service. He's going to start out in the back anyway, but he certainly was welcome of this caution. As he rolls around turn number 4, he's going to stay on the racetrack. I guess he's happy with what the crew did for him. As the field reforms, one of your chase contenders going to get back into the hunt here. As Kevin King picked up the lead, lap 25. And now, with fresh tires, he's going to have to defend it again.
And want to take this opportunity to thank all the fans for tuning in here tonight on Verdane TV, on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, all the streaming services, all the social media outlets. Be sure to give us a like, a subscribe, a share, all that good stuff. Let your friends and family know you're watching a little bit of iRacing action here live on Verdane TV. A little Transervice Cup Series brought to you by the SIM500. Here on a Monday night, Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr. in the booth here with Kevin England. Tim Terry has the night off. And great racing here at Las Vegas, and busy schedule coming up here for the month of October. Neps is back, one of the most anticipated seasons, kicking off season 3. John Peters, Johnny Two Belts, as we coined the nickname last season, going to come back and try and defend for a 3rd season in a row. Those guys kick off at Daytona on October 5th, next Tuesday. So really looking forward to that. Going to be great to see all those late model drivers and open wheel drivers from all across the New England and Northeast area to jump back on track. And we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up as well. These guys are going to be racing for a championship all the way through the month of November. Second week in November is when we're going to be crowning a champion for 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 leagues. We're going to be crowning champions that week. Really looking forward to that. and of course the Bottle Rocket 350 presented by the Liberty Racing League. Very cool to have a Verdane Racing sanctioned race once again, kind of stepping back in the throwback machine, having a little throwback action to one of the more popular eras in the NASCAR community is the early or the late 90s, early 2000s, when a lot of the young guns, quote unquote, jumped in. Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman, all those guys really kind of combing through the sport and transferring it into the iRacing and the sim racing community. So going to be opening up registration later on this week. The race itself, November 20th, a Saturday afternoon. Going to be a lot of fun, a lot of prizes on the line, and a lot of money on the line too. So we will that's going to be a lot of fun running the old Daytona track before it got repaved in the old trucks. So a little bit of tip to the hat to the past of the Verdane Racing, but right now we're in the present. Kevin King going to take that restart. Josh Parker on the outside doesn't quite get going as quick as Kevin King does. He's got about 5 car lengths over now. Tommy Ryan in second.
Yeah, King got an amazing launch, and that bottom line is being shoved by Adam Gilliland one more time. He's going to push Tommy Ryan 2 seconds. They have erased that gap. Now they'll jump to the high side. King is going to defend. Top 3 nose to tail as Flockingham down on the bottom one more time, trying to get what he can here after this restart. It is Kevin King out front, and here comes Gilliland to the outside with a charge.
Josh Parker trying to find which line's going to be a little bit quicker and getting stuck each time. Now he's kind of up on the high side by himself. You see the 29 and the 81 jump up there to break the air a little bit. But the 81 of Adam Gilliland going to have a little bit more momentum up on the top side. It looks like he's going to have enough to get around the leader, Kevin King.
Yeah, and throughout the field, it seems like a little more decorum. Only 2 wide, 1 or 2 wide. As I say that, they go 3 wide back there for third. But for the most part, everybody pretty well behaved on this restart as we have a new leader. And, well, Kevin King once again finds himself back into traffic.
King sliding on back to third. Adam Gill and Josh Parker pulling away from the field here just a little bit. We can see Trey Edson, last week's winner, Kevin King, Daniel Flockingham, all battling out for the third position on back. Kevin King now under fire from the 58 of Pedro Mojica. Tommy Ryan back up in there. There's Brian Macklin. Haven't talked about him too much all night long. He's holding on to the top 10 right now in the 7th position, as it were. Byron Daly holding on, E.J. O'Rourke in the 41 car. All these drivers in the bottom side of the top 10. There's some contact for you. The 99 getting up, door slamming the 30, but they keep it straight, keep it green, keep it clean here on lap number 42.
Yeah, up front, it doesn't look like Parker is content to ride. He's going to dive down underneath, gets a good run through 3 and 4. He's going to pull out. Josh Parker, P number 1, lap 42. He's going to lead the lap and drag Gilliland. Gilliland's not going to be content to sit there, and imagine you'll see a charge from him as Trey Edson back in the mix, sitting there in third.
Little 3-way dance here, triple threat for the lead. Josh Parker holding on to it for now, and you can see you were definitely right. Adam Gilliland doesn't want to hold on to second. He wants to get up in that clean air, and you can see he's following the line that Josh Parker is running. Wherever Josh is in that 23 car, Adam Gilliland is put in that car. You can see he's going to chase him all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack here. And Trey Edson going to try his luck on the high side. There's Adam Gilliland up top. Real exciting action up here in the top 2, top 3 as they're pulling away. But Daniel Flockingham has moved himself up into the 4th. He's smelling a little blood in the water action at this point.
Yeah, for Flockingham, it seems to be the story of 1 car at a time. The farther you go forward, the harder it is to get the pass. And you got to look back there, tip of the cap to Pedro Mojica. He is sitting there in 6th, although he's under attack from Tommy Ryan, who dropped down to the apron. He's alongside. They are door-to-door running through. Pedro didn't get a good entry. He's going to get right to the back bumper, Ryan, of King. And now King blocks his progress as Mojica is going to come to the outside. That's, one of those things about this racetrack. Drivers running high, running low. You get a run and then someone pulls down and there's 3,500 pounds of stock car in front of you and you just can't execute the pass.
And you can see with these two going back and forth here, it brings Brian Macklin into the picture, right up to the back bumper of the 58 of Mojica. And here comes Jose Gonzalez as well in the 26 car. Byron Daly bringing his whole crew of friends as well. So as these two drivers kind of side by side battling for position, a little bit of accordion effect action kicking in, making these two smaller packs into one big pack as the front drivers start to slip away just a little bit.
Yeah, no colored spoilers for EJ O'Rourke, Mike Kelly, and Byron Daly. All three of them dropped that last round, but you know what? They're still good enough. They were right there in the hunt. It's no surprise to see them knocking on the door here for a top 10.
Yeah, a little bit of luck really kicking into the last three races here on Verdane TV in the Transervice Cup Series here by SIM500. Three short tracks, Bristol, Richmond, and Darlington. So it's real tough to figure out what's going to happen in there, and a lot of drivers having a little bit of bad luck throughout that last round, but still very, very able to contend for wins. And you can see these drivers trying to break into the top 10, move their way up, and maybe spoil the party just a little bit for some of these yellow banner drivers.
How about this run by Josh Barker? He's putting together a really solid effort. Josh, he's got one win on the season. Would love to get there and play with the rest of them as to have double digits on that. And he is currently out front, and he's been pretty strong the last couple of weeks. And, you know, one thing about Josh, he's a little like EJ O'Rourke sometimes. When he gets in that mix and he has a fast car, you know he's going to be beating on your back bumper.
Yeah, a lot of experience, many, many years in the sim racing community and some real racing experience as well. Up at Stafford Motor Speedway just a few years back. Josh Barker knows how to get around these racetracks. Been doing it a long time on a couple of different systems, doing a little bit of Xbox racing as well in the NASCAR Heat League, doing some racing for Joe Gibbs Racing esports team, which is very, very cool, and showing that a lot of experience really turns into to running well here. And you can see he's got about 3, maybe 4/10 of a second lead now over the 81 car of Adam Gilliland.
We're back to that segment of the race where the drivers are single file now, and with the tire wear, it's very hard to get your run, get alongside. You'll see somebody muster a little something and go for a challenge, but typically this is the stage of the race where you're going to see drivers all level off on their tire. You know, someone I heard compare this to a restrictor plate, IROC style racing. With this package and the way the cars work, everybody's really about the same speed. It's just a matter of whether you have a run and whether you're brave enough to pull out a line.
100%. And it's funny you should mention IROC. I actually got a text message right before we went on air. Not given the liberty to say too much just yet because it hasn't been announced, but a very familiar name with a very familiar sponsor going to be jumping on a board and putting together a IROC-esque style of racing groove. And it was compared to the old GS Racing, Get Some Racing from a few years back. I ran a couple of races with them, but realized it wasn't too fast, so I kind of jumped back into my own deal. But pretty cool news coming up. Really looking forward to it. We're going to try and get partnered up with Verdane TV, but even if we're not, we're still going to be able to get that news over to you on the social media outlets, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, heck, even on Twitch and TikTok. So make sure you search for Verdane TV. Pull us up, give us a follow, and subscribe, and keep up with all the news that we're going to be putting out throughout the fall and winter months here.
Have to come back and update that story on Josh Williams. He was right there in that mix, got his car fixed. He had Chad Coleman right behind him on that restart. I thought the two of them were going to drive through, but it looks like Williams' car not up to song. Currently 24th. He's dropped quite a bit back from the field. He's not with anybody to draft. In the contrast to that, Chad Coleman up to 19th. And if he could just get a little further up, he might get a sniff of this lead group. The tap-out tuning Camaro has some significant damage over there on that left rear quarter, but Chad Coleman looks like he still has a little speed in the car. He just needs to get a little more damage fixed and see if he can get in the mix. One of the things I know, Paul, this week is even if you have damage, if you can get in and amongst all the other cars, they'll carry you fast enough.
Yeah, 100%. It's like you made mention, it's almost like a super speedway type deal or a plate track where if you get air kind of taken off the front nose of the car, you'll be able to suck right up to the back bumper of the cars in front of you. We're seeing that a little bit here in the top 5 or so. Everybody trying to hook in to the back bumper of the 81 car. You can see Daniel Flockingham now up in the third, Trey Edson, Kevin King in the top 5 with Brian Macklin holding on to 6th. But you can see a great spot right now. Everybody trying to use the draft. I know the tires are getting older, about 20 laps on this set of tires. So trying to utilize the draft and maybe get to kind of test out what the handling is going to do later on.
I have to say how impressed I am with Josh Parker and the lap times that he's putting in. And I'm wondering if Adam Gilliland has dropped off him a little bit so he can get some air on the nose of that car. He does not seem to be chasing him down. And, you know, unlike that first stint where we saw Kevin King make the charge through, at this point, Kevin King is under attack. Macklin to the high side. They almost come together out of turn 2 to the back straightaway. Big push by Pedro Mojica. Pedro Mojica. Kevin King, though, is able to defend that position. He's going to keep that 5th slot going across the line here at lap 57.
Yeah, but the battle not done for the bottom half of the top 5. You can see the 58 of Mojica right on the back bumper of Macklin. Macklin trying to figure out where he wants to put that car to try and get around the 29. We saw a little bit of contact between the two of them about 2, maybe 3 laps ago. Kept everything pointed in the right direction, clean and green. So good news for both of those drivers. And you can see kind of tucking in a little single file action right now. The first double file, you see Tommy Ryan up on the high side above Byron Daly trying to take that 8th position.
Yeah, Tommy Ryan knows how to get the job done. He's got 1 win on the season, the Snap Mobile Shop Camaro. He is outstanding at these racetracks where you are going to do a long run, try and be consistent, and find speed every single lap. He's smooth as glass, and I'm not surprised to see him running up in the top 10 for this racetrack.
Yeah, and even though this is a racing simulator, iRacing.com, if you wanted to check it out and try it out in your own bedroom or garage or shop or wherever you had a spot to set up a computer with a good internet connection, these drivers still very mentally and physically strong getting into these long races. 130 laps here at Las Vegas is definitely quite a bit. I mean, these drivers are going to be racing for about an hour and a half or so. So the mental wear definitely plays a factor in some of these drivers, and sometimes even physical wear. A lot of times we'll talk in a post-race show to some of these drivers here on Verdane TV, and 41 car up into the wall a little bit, keeps it pointed in the right direction, but loses a lot of spots. Going to drop all the way back to 18th here. But a lot of the times we'll talk to these drivers in post-race, and oh man, I'm sweating. That's racing real hard. So that's one of the things we got to keep in mind here, especially with these longer races in the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series.
When you run a lot of green flag laps, it's one of those things where you just have to have that concentration. And what's interesting here is it's just looking at the time of day in the sim. It's 5 p.m. and right about the halfway mark, you're going to see that sun start to set over the grandstands. When you come out of turn 4, you're going to get that glare, and it's I'm not sure if it's going to be a factor here as the race goes on, but you start to get that sun coming in your eyes when you come out of turn 4, and it's hard to line up the car in front of you. We'll see whether or not that plays in as the race goes on.
And not only that, when we're riding on board right now with Jose Gonzalez in the 26 car, you're seeing the shadows fall off the racetrack, come into the race car, and you're seeing the shadows on the track surface itself. A lot of times these drivers, and myself included, back when I used to do a little bit of racing, I would utilize those shadows to tell me when to turn in and when to let off. So a lot of these drivers might be losing some of their braking points and acceleration points as the sun kind of shifts position here in the sky.
As I look at the textbook line, I always look to see where Daniel Flockingham is going. He runs right up against the wall going on entry to the corner, arcs the car in down to that apex right about the 3/4 mark, maybe sometimes even uses the apron and then drives the car off and lets it roll all the way out to the straightaway. There's a little jut out at the end of turn number 2 where the safer barrier is. You got to be careful. You can hit that line wrong if you're on that high line, and fence can sneak up on you. You just got to stay up on the wheel all the way through the event. We're working lap 65, and out front it continues to be Josh Parker, but I'll tell you, I'm looking at times from Adam Gilliland. He's closing that gap just a little bit.
Yeah, Adam Gilliland on track, running about a tenth, almost a tenth and a half of a second faster than the leader, Josh Parker. So knows he's got a quick car. There's a little bit of gap between those top two drivers, and they know they've got some time. We're working about 30 laps on this set of tires as well. So if we don't see a caution flag here in the next 5 or so laps, we may very well start seeing some of these green flag pit stops that we saw last Thursday night here with the Multi-League Cup Series at Las Vegas. And you made mention, Kevin, we can run about 52 laps or so on a tank of fuel, but I think these drivers are going to be wanting tires before that.
Yeah, we're going to be looking about lap 85, about 20 laps or so, give or take. I'm with you, though. A lot of drivers are calculating how much time and how to split the difference. They don't want to pit, though, and end up having a caution and end up losing a lap. As I look at the lap times, Adam Gilliland, the 31.814 to a 31.877 for Josh Parker. And that destiny that we talked about is there. Adam Gilliland is physically shoving him out of turn 4.
And this is where we're going to see what drivers, a little bit of almost contact there for second place. Flockingham slides up into P2. A little bit of contact with the 81, but again, they hold on to it. Now Trey Edson going to dip down low and see if he can get around third place. Now battling for second place. Things are starting to heat up here in the top 5. Kevin King going all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack, seeing if he needed a little bit of clean air on that nose. We've got ourselves about a 5-6 car way dance for second place.
I have to wonder if King can help push Gilliland up as Edson ties to the back bumper of the 39. If Flockingham gets out to clean air, all this battling has allowed the 23 to go. He's going to set sail, and all these drivers, all of a sudden it seems like they picked up a little pace here and turned up the wick. Here comes Edson to the outside. Could he have been saving some tires there in that run?
A little bit of a push as well from the 81 car, who slides into the third spot. Flockingham now back to fourth, and still side by side for that fifth spot. Brian Macklin trying to get around the outside of Kevin King to put that 29 car outside the top 5 for the first time here tonight. But like you said, Josh Parker pulled away by quite a bit, but you can see a little bit of cleaner air now on that 5 car of Edson, starting to pull right back up to the bumper, and he's bringing that 39 car and the 81 car as well with him.
Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, they all ran faster lap times than that leader out front, as these guys are on the march right now. Lap 70 in the books. It continues to be Josh Parker out front with Trey Edson, Adam Gilliland, Daniel Flockingham, Kevin King, Brian Macklin, Tommy Ryan, Byron Daly, Pedro Mojica, and Justin Fuller, your top 10. Looking out in the back, how about Chad Coleman coming up to that 19th position? Just keeps trying to plug away back there.
Yeah, had a very solid car the first part of this race, and unfortunately got into a little bit of an incident in the top 5, knocked him all the way back. Still on the lead lap, still in 19th position. A little bit of damage there on the right rear, but holding on to it. There you can see right there racing with Bobby Wetzel, trying to work together just a little bit, maybe make up a little bit of ground here on the racetrack.
Side by side for the lead out of turn number 2. Looking underneath as Trey Edson didn't get the run. He's going to jump back into that outside lane. He's got the 81 shoving him as Parker's going to come down and protect. Here comes Kevin King underneath Daniel Flockingham. Everybody has to circle around these two for the championship, but I'll tell you what, these two up front, Edson and Gilliland, look like they want to have a play in this party.
Everybody in the top 5 in the championship playoffs here. Josh Parker holding on to the lead, but Kevin King very, very fast in that 29 car. We've seen a couple of times now. He's kind of made some evasive maneuvers on the backstretch. He'll get a big run and jump all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack, and it seems like it's starting to kind of pay off just a little bit. Now side by side on the bottom of Daniel Flockingham there for the 4th position.
I hate to say this because it's no slight to anybody in this race. Everybody is talented, but these top 5, this is where I think the point championship's going to be. And it's these races, these points that really are going to make the difference. While Flockingham is out front, it's really only 10, 12, 15 points back to some of these guys. And I'm telling you, I really feel like they're all racing to beat that 39. They have come to task against the Lobster 207 Camaro.
And what's really exciting to me is these drivers at the beginning of the season, Joey Gattina, the race official and league owner, got up with all the Cup Series drivers here with the Transervice Cup Series and said, hey, which track are we going to race the championship at? Everybody out here, it was almost a unanimous vote, Atlanta. Atlanta's very, very similar to this racetrack where it's a 1.5-mile oval, great green flag racing, and it's going to boil down to 4 of these championship contenders coming down to that last race. And whoever finishes better is going to walk out of Atlanta Motor Speedway with that Transervice Cup Series championship. And that is going to be very exciting to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, just look at the way this field is shaped. Within a second, the top 9 run under a blanket is. I am so impressed with the 23. He has fended off every single charge. Josh Parker, he's got it going on here tonight. He's had some of the best knocking on his back bumper. He's just picked the right lines, able to keep that gap, and well, he's just getting the job done here tonight.
And it seems like every time the second place driver tries to make a move on Josh Parker, the current leader, they'll end up getting under attack from the third and fourth place driver. So right now we see Trey Edson just kind of biding his time right now. Adam Gillen going to try and move up the track just a little bit, but Kevin King sees the door open, tries to get his nose up in there, and Adam Gillen jumps back in the line. But single file here for about the top 9 right up in this lead pack.
Yeah, if you're in second and you're trying to find that lane down underneath, it's almost a compromise to turn the car down. It's going to slow the car a little bit, and that allows everybody behind you to get a little bit of a run. You'll see these drivers peeking down low, and maybe one of the drivers out in the back will run a little higher line in order to carry that momentum, and that's how they're building runs. As we see the 81 just did it. Here comes King pushing them through. These two work together, and I'll tell you, Kevin's run really helped Adam Gilliland cement that run to second.
You can see a couple of drivers, Tommy ran. Oh, the 58 of Mojica's around. Was just going to say Mojica, one of the drivers without the yellow banner, trying to make something happen in the top 5, but a little bit of contact there sends the 58 around on the front straightaway coming out of turn number 4, and that is in fact going to bring out a caution. We're going to see a lot of these drivers come down pit road, but we will definitely pull up the Kong and Beer Bong instant replay and find out what happened to the 58 car.
Wow, this is going to kind of reset the deck as lap 67 was halfway, and we're getting to the 3/4 mark at lap 100, and now everybody's going to have tires. Final pit window is lap 82. So can you go in and get your final set of tires here? It's hard to say. What's going to happen here is everybody's going to go to pit road.
100%. There you saw the contact between the 58 of Pedro Mojica and the 30 of Brian Macklin. Just a case of a couple of drivers trying to go onto the same piece of real estate, and unfortunately with physics being what it is, you can't do that. You can't put multiple cars in the same position. But like you made mention, starting off with the leader here, Kevin, everybody down on pit road. I got to figure it's going to be just like before, 4 tires and fuel for the entire field.
I just noticed as he pulled into his box a little bit of damage on the back of the 39 for Flockingham. The left rear is crinkled in. His service is done. He's down and away. Tucks right in behind the 81 as pretty much everybody exited pit road except for Tommy Ryan. Good pit stop for the 99 crew.
Tommy Ryan going to slide up to the 4th position here behind Josh Parker, Trey Edson, and Kevin King. Great pit stops all the way around, low 14-second bracket. And we can look through timing and scoring and show you that definitely everybody has taken 4 tires here at Las Vegas. Nobody wanting to gamble with 2 tires just yet. But there may very well be some drivers that have some tires left on pit road. So if we get maybe a quick caution or so, we might see somebody come down and try and take advantage of that. But we're also going to see a lot of drivers stay out and try and hold on to that track position. Working a lap number 80 of 130, 50 laps to go. Crossing the stripe, it's going to be 49 to go.
It's a good time to tell you that this race is brought to you by Transervice Transportation and Logistics Solutions. A history of service, a tradition of excellence. Visit them on the web at transervice.com. The Transervice Cup Rookie Championship is sponsored by RacingBids.com, racing collectibles for race fans. Visit their live auctions through Facebook.com/RacingBids. And by Kong Beer Bong. Be the life of the party. Visit Kong.2drunk.net and make the good times better. We are resetting the deck, lap 80 and Paul. From a strategy standpoint, I have to wonder if some of these drivers may duck in, top off, and see if they can run the rest of this race.
Yeah, at this point with the racing we haven't seen too many drivers hold on to stay out and kind of save any fuel. But at this point, you made mention 52 to 54 laps, or 50 to 52 laps or so is about the fuel window. Right now, I think everybody would be able to make it if we went the scheduled distance of 130 laps. But we've got a couple of attempts at a green-white checker here at Las Vegas. And, well, with the being out here near the casinos and the gambling capital of the United States, it's one of those things. Do you want to gamble on it and hope we don't have a late race caution, or hope we don't have the green-white checkered? It looks like everybody up front going to stay out. We might see some drivers towards the back come down and top off.
Yeah, if I were going to gamble on something, I'd put 20 on we're going to have another caution. As much as that's an interesting storyline, I really am not buying it even for myself. But we'll see. What's great now is they've had 82 laps of competition. They have figured out the tires. They've figured out the runs. They've figured out the track position and the aero and whatever. And I think it's going to get even better from here. These drivers, you know, up in the front, they've been masterful. And I am, you typically see the Kevin King, Daniel Flockingham show, but look at Tommy Ryan sitting there in fourth position. Look at Edson, who's come on as of late. Look at Parker out front leading all those laps. There is no parity whatsoever in the context of thinking that, or there is tons of parity, I should say, go that the other way, in all of these guys up front. It's anybody's race here tonight.
Yeah, 100%. And we've always made mention the Transervice SIM500 Cup Series, usually a who's who of sim racing. A lot of guys that have been around the sim racing community for a long time, lots of experience throughout this entire field here. I'd love to one day be able to sit down and just add up all the years of experience here on Monday nights, and it's showing up towards the front. Josh Parker down on the bottom side. Trey Edson, last week's winner, up on the high side. Josh Parker looks like he missed a gear, did not go on that restart. That's going to give the advantage to the 5-car, Trey Edson.
Edson jumps to the lead from the outside. Officials would look at that and say, I didn't see anything that looked like a jump from that standpoint. It just looks like the 23 didn't get a good run. Edson comes down, covers the bottom line. Here comes Flockingham trying to push the 99. It gets some advantages. They're going to be side by side. It may not be Edson when we get back to the line.
Josh Parker seeing the door left open by the 5 of Trey Edson. He's going to slide on down to the bottom side and try and make something happen, get back to that lead. But there you can see a huge run on the top side with the 29 of Kevin King, bringing Tommy Ryan and the 39 of Flockingham with him as well.
Edson was credited with that lap as they're now side by side throughout different parts of the field. And King, he looks like he's showing a little aggression, pulled down. He got the block from Parker. Edson has Parker right to his back bumper. Gilliland side by side with Flockingham. They're single file to third, then they're two deep, stacked all the way back to about 12th.
6 different races for the top 5 positions here at Las Vegas. Business definitely picking up here on lap number 85. You can see the top 2 drivers checking out just a little bit in front of these racers. Back, third on back. Tommy Ryan now going to utilize that high side and a little bit of a push. Try and get down in front of Kevin King, but not enough room. Bobbles a bit. He's going to lose 3, 4, 5 positions and slide Kevin King back into third.
All the way down to the grass was the 81 Gilliland trying to get whatever he can out of this racetrack as he drops back into that 5th position. And you see Parker, he's putting the pressure on Edson. Edson coming back to the front here, lap 25. He gave up the lead after leading about 20 laps earlier in this event. Now he picks up the lead one more time. And, yep, I think he's got a pretty comfortable hold on it right now. That Josh Parker He's got to be careful not to burn his stuff up trying to get past him.
And that's one of those things when you've got two drivers that are kind of checked out, not quite checked out, but they've got a little bit of a lead. A lot of times you'll see that second place driver kind of control the pace of the race. Maybe make that leader push a little bit harder than he wants to, or maybe back up just a little bit and try and get him to relax. Either way, going to be some strategy trying to get around that number 5 car for the 23 of Josh Parker. And Kevin King, Daniel Flockingham, they kind of broke away, third and fourth, now single file. And everybody's about single file back to 8th place. There's Jose Gonzalez holding on to the bottom half of the top 10. Little side-by-side action here for 10th, though. Mike Kelly on the outside of the 51 and Justin Fuller.
Yeah, I've been watching that battle for the last 3 or 4 laps. There's quite a bit of damage on that right front of Justin Fuller. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that he's not up there. Kelly came off of turn 4. The car got so close to the racetrack, to the wall over there, that I thought he actually hit it last time by. Big push through 3 and 4. He's going to slow up his momentum. Macklin's going to go by. The 54 of Coleman is going to go by. And Kelly's struggling on the outside, but he's had a good run running up to the 10th position.
Macklin in that 30 car holding on to the 10th position, and you can see he's got a little bit of room in front of and behind him. A little 2x2 action all the way around, and he's trying to see what's going to happen. Tommy Ryan holding on to the 7th spot. Justin Fuller, Byron Daly strong under attack right behind him, and you can see Brian Macklin starting to close right in on the back bumper. He knows in order to get up towards the front, he's going to have to get around some of these drivers here in the second half of the top 10. A lot of times easier said than done.
But watching the 29 of Kevin King, he gets a good run through 3 and 4. He gets a good run to the front straightaway, gets right to the back bumper. And I think what he's trying to do is learn something. Remember I said before, when you get to the back bumper, you can get that little bit of a sniff of a draft, and he's just working on the timing. I saw him get over there to turn 1 and 2 before, get to the 23, and then it looked like he almost eased out of it. Right now, I think Kevin King is saving a little bit of tire, but I bet he's got the strategy to figure out how to get by.
Just like the super speedways, you want to make sure that you get that final pass attempt timing just right. You don't want to go too early because you might not have enough time to get around that driver in front of you, but you don't want to go too early because it gives the other driver an opportunity to take that position back, but you don't want to go too late because that could potentially take out your opportunity. And that's what Kevin King's trying to learn right now, to see how quickly he can close up onto the back bumper and potentially get around that 23 car in second.
Classic side draft from Daniel Flockingham out of turn 3. Got right to the left rear quarter panel of Tommy Ryan. Pulled him back. He was able to drive by, and I saw the 33 of Byron Daly follow him through the hole. That's going to move Daly up to 6th position. First time he's knocking on the door for a top 5. Ryan didn't lose too much, sitting back there in 7th and trying to get the charge back going again.
Little 3-wide action here right outside the top 10, and take a peek at that 38 car of Chad Coleman. Stuck in the middle right now, Brian Macklin down on the bottom side, Jose Gonzalez in the 26 up on the high side. Still 3 wide, almost 2 wide as they cross the stripe. Still 3 wide, still trying to hold on to it, but a great rebound for Chad Coleman in that 38, involved in that race caution earlier on, running in the top 5, now breaking his way back into the top 10. With 36 laps to go, still has a little bit of time here to try and make up some spots.
Yeah, when they watch the replay, they're going to be singing "Stuck in the Middle" with you as he wants the meat in the middle of the sandwich. But he was able to make that work. I'm looking at 2 cars that got damaged early on, 19 and the 95. Both of them kind of soldiering on back there. Whoa, big contact from Pedro Mojica. Got into the left rear quarter panel of the 39. No harm, no foul. The 2 of them keep going. I think Pedro might have lifted a little bit, but now he's on the charge, and he's going to try and execute that pass over there in turn 3. Pardon me, coming through.
Yep, giving him a little bit of a nudge, letting him know he's there, and didn't bother giving him a second warning shot. Pulled the trigger and got up around to take away that top 5 spot, and you can see that 58 car running in 5th, utilizing the entire racetrack all the way down on the apron there on the front straightaway. Being that it's a white line and not a yellow line, it's not out of bounds, so we may very well see that towards the end of the race here as well.
I tell you, you don't know how complicated it is to run down there on that apron. You get down in the front stretch apron, and when the car comes back to the racetrack, it wants to jump out. You almost sometimes have to put a little right turn in it when you come back. Because Brian Macklin hopped the grass down there that time going through the apron.
And still not out of bounds. If he can make that car stick, they'll allow it here at Las Vegas. And you can see still side by side now for that 10th position, trying to get down to the bottom side now, trying to get around Justin Fuller, but Fuller able to hold on to the line all the way up, making just a little bit of contact between those two cars, just enough to hold a piece of paper in there. But you can see that Chad Coleman in the 38, right in the back bumper of the 51, a little bit loose as they get to the end of the straightaway there. And Chad Coleman, I don't think he's done making his way up towards the front. It's taken a while to get there, but he's just outside the top 10 in that 38 car.
Yeah, good recovery for him. And Macklin, I'll tell you, that's one of those moments where you ease up and you're physically laying against the car next to you. You might even get a 0x from the contact. Sometimes you can give them a little hip check and drop them off, but you do physically make contact with the car next to you. And you can run that way. It's disconcerting sometimes, but yep, Macklin makes it work. He's going to take that 9th position.
And you can see pulling away from this pack just a little bit. A lot of these drivers know it's getting close to the last couple of laps here. 31 laps to go here at Las Vegas, and everybody back here trying to get what they can get. You can see 3 wide between the 12, the 2, and the 3 there, and still side by side throughout this pack. Here's a good shot of Doy Woods in the 07 car having a relatively quiet night, holding on to the top 15. Not the run he wanted, but definitely having a solid run here so far at Las Vegas. 30 laps to go, though. These drivers still all over the racetrack trying to make something happen. Trey Edson still holding on to the lead in the 5 car.
Watching the lap times the last couple times, 1 lap Edson's faster, 1 lap Parker's faster. Kevin King's been faster than both of them on a couple different occasions, sitting there in that 3rd position. And one thing that we talked about, they were right at the cusp of being able to make it on fuel. And with Edson out front, you know he's burning a little more fuel. Does he have enough fuel to get to the finish?
And the way these drivers are racing here in the top 10, top 12, really all the way through the field at this point, doesn't look like anybody is backing off and saving any kind of fuel, full throttle all the way throughout the field, trying to chase down these top 2 drivers, Trey Edson and Josh Parker. And there you can see Parker making up a whole bunch of ground as he goes down to that apron, but you lose a little bit of momentum as you come back up onto the track. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on, and you can see lost enough momentum to where Kevin King is going to close right in on behind the back bumper of the 23 car and kind of close these top 4 cars up a little bit more.
Yeah, it's been quite a while since King has been to victory lane, and I'd imagine he's about ready for some of that. Podium would be nice, win would be better. Sitting there in 3rd, you have to wonder if he's plotting those runs I was talking about. He's right to the bumper cover of the 23 of Josh Parker. Well, Parker looked strong on the long run earlier. Does he have anything for Edson? And, well, where is the 81 and the 39? You had to imagine that the 2 of them are going to try and figure out how to mount the run.
And you can see those top 4 drivers currently running those yellow spoilers. They are in the playoffs right now, and they want to try and solidify their chances and move themselves, guarantee themselves a spot in the next round with a win, with a victory here at Las Vegas. A good points day, running in the top 4 for the first race of the round, great, but a win would absolutely be better and guarantee they'd be moving on.
And as I watch the 30 of Brian Macklin, he's doing a really good job here running in the top 10. He's got one of those yellow spoilers, and he's just trying to make sure that he can hold on to the points. Macklin, Fuller, and Ryan were tied with Chad Coleman in the points, 18 markers back coming into this round. His goal, at minimum, is to beat the other guys that are in that and try and claim that position, and right now having a solid top 10 run.
And each position on the racetrack worth 1 point in that championship hunt. So you want to try and get all that you can here in the closing laps. 25 laps to go now, and you can see Brian Macklin holding on to 8th place in the number 30 car. A couple of drivers in front of them, Pedro Mojica and Tommy Ryan, not in the playoffs, but still showing that very fast race cars here in the latter races of the season.
And for Comstock, who comes into this 10th in points, tied with Jose Gonzalez, the two of them, even numbers, he's going to have to dig himself a hole. He pretty much has to win in one of the next two races to advance. And I hate to say it, but as good as the run is for the 26 of Jose Gonzalez running in 10th, he's so far off this backpack right now that he's not in contest. And he's probably the worst of all the drivers running except for Williams. So being as deep as he is in the points, he's putting himself in a position where he's got to win the next two races.
And one of the things we really want to keep in mind is next week is a big-time wild card with Talladega Superspeedway, a racetrack where no matter what you're racing, which drivers, which leagues, which cars, or which vehicles, really anybody could come home with the victory at Talladega Superspeedway. And we're racing there next week, next Monday night here with the Transervice Cup Series. And then we're at a road course, Charlotte Roval, where anything can happen there as well. So that's definitely something these drivers want to kind of keep an eye on. It'd be great to come home with a victory here on the 1.5 mile here at Las Vegas and not have to worry too much about a couple of wild cards here coming up in 2 or 3 weeks.
Laps are ticking off. They go across complete lap 108, working 109, continues to be the same. Edson out front, Parker in second, and kind of has that big track feel where they're just kind of riding and plotting their moves. Doesn't it feel that way? It feels like something's about to happen.
Yeah, drivers going to school just a little bit, doing their homework as it were, trying to see who's racing where and where they're faster, where they're slower, where they can potentially make that late race move to try and get, again, as many points and as many positions as they can get here, and even potentially the win. You can see Josh Parker, Kevin King just kind of waiting in the wings here of Trey Edson, who's got about a 3-4 car length lead over Josh Parker in that 23 car. And we know right now, if we're talking momentum, it's all in that 5 Crews basket, because they won last week, guaranteed themselves a spot into this week's starting off playoff round. And you can see he's been leading quite a few laps here at Las Vegas here tonight. 20 laps to go in that 5 car, all momentum.
Yeah, just one quick note to come back to that. David Comstock did fix his damage, did come out riding around here, 28 laps down. The thing that he was able to do is pass a couple cars. And while he's currently in that 27th position, he's really not going to have a great night. He did gain a couple points here and there. One of the things we noted earlier, in the end of the run, right before we thought they were going to go to green flag pit stops, a couple drivers lit up. They all of a sudden came to life. We started to see a big charge mount. I have to believe that some of these drivers are saving their tires, but with 10 to go, 5 to go, they're going to run out of time. They're going to have to run, especially the deeper they are in this top 10 run. So I think business is about to pick up. It's not too long before we're going to see whether anybody has something in the tank.
100%. We made mention of it a little bit earlier on here tonight. You don't want to pull the trigger too quickly, because you might give the opportunity to the driver in front of you to kind of rebound just a little bit. But you don't want to go too late, because you want to make sure you've got enough time to actually make that pass happen. And we've seen Kevin King many, many times throughout the night kind of time out. You can see it looks like he's trying it right here. He'll get right up to the back bumper of the 23 car and back up another lap or two. He'll try it again in that 29 car. So I think he's the one doing the most homework right now. He's going to try and get around that 23 car of Josh Parker and then kind of close the bumper or close in on that 5 car. So we'll see what he does in that 29 car.
Yeah, and you also can't count out the fact that the 81 is right there behind him. Possibly something's going to go on there where the two of them can come together and see if they can work to get one of them the victory. But I don't know. It could also go the other round where everybody's just got all that they have. They can't make that pass. They're afraid to pull out, and they might parade this thing all the way to the finish. I really can't tell the way this is going to work out.
These drivers going about 185 miles an hour going down into turn number 3, but their minds are racing at about 500 miles an hour. Lots of different things, lots of different decisions to make throughout the racetrack, and you can see these top 3 starting to kind of accordion together just a little bit closer and pull away. So you got to wonder if maybe the 29 car will try and push the 23 to the lead. Who's going to work with who? We don't really have too many teammates up here in the top 8 or so. But we'll see. We'll see who works with who coming up 15 laps to go here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, the WAP card right now is the 81 of Gilliland. I wonder if he was laying back to see if he could come back to the 39 and then get a run up to the 29 for King. And he was able in a half a lap to drive straight through. Now he's going to drive down underneath Kevin King. You know, all of these guys, teammates, affiliations, whatever it may be, they want to win. They want to lock themselves in. That's going to cost Gilliland. Here comes Flockingham to the outside. Gilliland's going to force the issue, though, and close the door.
Yeah, we saw the 81 car use that front stretch apron there to try and get around Kevin King. Didn't quite get there. They see Tommy Ryan in the 99 car making his way up towards the front, holding on to the 5th spot. Daniel Flockingham right there, along with the 58 of Pedro Mojica, right up in the mix. And you can see Brian Macklin taking a front seat to the action there in 8th place, and he's got Byron Daly right behind him as well, trying to see if maybe something happens, a little bit of contact with some of these drivers. Tommy Ryan gets up, kisses the wall just a little bit, but it's still Trey Edson, Josh Parker, Kevin King, the top 3 drivers as we head out of turn number 4.
If I'm a spotter, I'm just going to make note of what happened with the 39 there. He got stalled with that run earlier, and then he got to the 99, just drove around the outside of him, coming off of turn number 4 to come back to the 5th position. That was pretty interesting and showed a lot of power in that 39.
And one of the things the spotters are going to keep an eye on as well is the contact on the racetrack. The 58 and the 99 getting together and sending in the 99, easy enough for me to say. The 99 of Tommy Ryan up into the wall. We stay green flag, but that's going to cost a lot of track position for that 99 car. It's going to drop him all the way back to the 9th spot. And you can see up front, still Trey Edson crossing the stripe. Lap number 118 belongs to the 5 car. Here comes Kevin King, going to make a move on the bottom side of Josh Parker, try and move into that 2nd spot.
Side-by-side battle as they go down there. Can King clear him? You have to see whether or not he's going to be able to get the job done. Still trying to get the move finished as they are, sideways off of the corner. Unable to execute the pass, but he's got a good run. He's right on the line, and he's got the push. I think King's going to get him over here in turn 2.
One of the things I'm seeing is the drivers down on the bottom side here about halfway through the turn. You can see drift up just a little bit, and no quarters given from the 23 car, holds on to that middle groove. So in order for Kevin King to not slide up into the 23 car, it looks like he's having to let off the throttle just a little bit, and he's losing some momentum, and that in itself is giving the 39 car a big run on the outside. He pulls up right in the back bumper of the 23 of Josh Parker. I got a feeling we're going to see that 39 car go high, wide, and handsome here with 9 laps to go.
Yeah, they just got to be careful that they don't get bottled up when somebody plugs somebody in the middle of this. And I agree with you that the move from the 58 impacting one of the chase cars is going to get reviewed. But, you know, these guys, they want to get the win. They're elbows up right now. And this is lap 121. We're within 10 to go here. It's time to do whatever you can to get yourself the victory.
Physical and mental attrition, and not quite exhaustion, but definitely going to be tired after we're racing about 90 minutes rather into this race, on top of the practice that these drivers have done all evening and all week long. And knowing that you've got 8 laps to go, you want to focus in on those 8 laps and make them the best 8 turns around this racetrack that you've got. And a lot of times that's tough to do when you've got your mind racing as hard as it is right now, even faster than the cars going around the track, trying to see what's going on in front of you, behind you, side by side, all the different things that could potentially happen to the racetrack. As it gets closer to that checkered flag, the thoughts start to race a little bit more, and almost contact there between the 29 and the 39. Kevin King backs off the throttle just a bit, tucks back into 4th.
Yeah, King had such a good run, but again, race car in front of him, no place to go. You're going to have to yield that, and he's going to drop back a little bit. Laps are running out for these guys, but the best thing Trey Edson could see is he wants to see them side by side behind him. If they keep battling and swapping and whatever, he's able to drive out and carry that little bit of a cushion he needs. And can't forget he's got the clean air. Just that footnote, does he have enough fuel to get to the distance?
We made mention on that last pit stop, we had enough to potentially get to the checkered flag if we were able to save a little bit. And I don't think any of these drivers really saving too much fuel, as we've been hammered down throughout the racetrack. A high five from Barney in the flag stand there. 5 laps to go at Las Vegas, and looking at the timing and scoring, about 45 to 46 laps ago is when these drivers were last down pit road. With 5 to go here at this point, kind of puts us right on the window. I think we're in for a treat here in these last 5 laps, Kevin.
Yeah, the typical scheduled distance for this is 134 laps to be 200 miles. They set it for 130 tonight, and that's really going to pay into Edson's favor, because if you look at lap 82 when we went green and add 52 to that, it takes us to 134. So I think he's got enough to get to the traditional finish. Maybe he can eke out a green-white checker. We'll have to see, but I'll tell you what, he's looking in that rearview mirror every time he comes off of turn 4 and trying to see if he needs to block the line behind him, as they are now figuratively nose to tail right behind your leader, putting pressure on.
And we're going to find out who's going to make the first move here in the top 4, 5, 6 cars, knowing as we cross the stripe, 4 laps to go. You don't want to wait too long, because it'll give you'll run out of time. You won't have enough time to make your way towards the front, but you also don't want to go too early, because it gives the driver in front of you the opportunity to kind of come back just a little bit. And this lap, this last lap by, you saw that 29 car of Kevin King back up just a little bit, now starting to close in on the back bumper of the 39 car, trying to get himself a run and trying to move himself into a podium finish here at Las Vegas. Crossing the stripe, Trey Edson, 3 laps to go.
This has become a 7-car race. The 8th place car has dropped off, and as you look out the windshield of your leader, yes, you see David Comstock up there. Slower car with damage. You have to assume that when they get to him, he'll yield the way. In fact, pulling down to the apron right now to let these guys race it through. Leader goes by cleanly with no problems. One of the things that we know is the car, even that far out front, it's going to affect the aero, and that's really going to help Trey Edson.
Popsicle sticks in the air, 2 laps to go for Trey Edson in the number 5 car. Josh Parker still in second, Daniel Flockingham in third, Kevin King right in there, all single file in the top 4. Pedro Mojica, Adam Gill in the first battle back there for 5th. Pedro trying to be the first car in the top 5 that's not in these playoffs.
39 to the inside. He's got the run to turn number 3. Good run by Josh Parker. He's going to hold him tight to the door. They're going to make contact. Flockingham gets a little bit sideways, slides up in front of King. King gets a piece of the wall. And it's going to be Parker holding, wrestling that position. The big loser in that, Kevin King, going to slide back to 5th. He's under attack, 4-6. Contact for Pedro Mojica, and he's going to drop back quite a few positions here. Trey Edson has to love what he's seeing in the mirror.
100%. One more time through 3 and 4, and all Trey Edson has to do is hold on this final lap here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Gonna cross the stripe, back-to-back wins here, closing out the last round, starting off this round, and on to the next. The number 5 car of Trey Edson comes home with the victory here at Las Vegas. Josh Parker second, Daniel Flockingham third, Adam Gill in 4th, Byron Daly in 5th, and Kevin King sliding all the way back into the 6th position after that late race contact. But that 5 car, Kevin, 2 wins in a row, that's where the momentum's going to be, it looks like.
Yeah, if you're going to light it up, this is the perfect time. Reminiscent of Denny Hamlin, he's going to pull 2 wins off in the championship race. And Trey Edson has come to serve notice that as last year's champion, he's going to try and get it done again here. So he's going to go burn it down. And I don't know if Pedro Mojica is very happy over there with Daniel Flockingham.
Late race contact, you gotta tell that more than likely was going to happen, and we've seen it happen many times here on Vidane TV, especially here in the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series. But as we see Trey Edson burning them down, we're going to take a quick opportunity, take a quick break. We'll be right back with the top 3 after this break.
What's one of the biggest challenges of managing a fleet of trailers and material handling equipment? Hassling with maintenance, repair, and vehicle breakdown. Transervice's dedicated contract maintenance service, DCM, takes that hassle away. We maintain your fleet, no matter what the configuration, to the highest standards, while giving you the greatest cost control. We offer preventative maintenance executed to maximum utilization, equipment life, and necessary repairs, all tracked by a state-of-the-art paperless computerized system. Assistance with equipment engineering, configuration, including new engine technology, and onboard computers for your fleet, as well as dedicated fleet contract maintenance. Dedicated on-site service facilities staffed with management and certified maintenance technicians, inventories of parts, tires, and fluids, and all necessary shop equipment, diagnostic tools, and technology. Supporting services such as equipment inspections and assistance with meeting regulatory requirements, DOT, OSHA, EPA. Contact us today to learn about our turnkey contract maintenance solutions. It's all about the experience, yours and ours.
Welcome back to the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series. Dedicated contract maintenance, dedicated full service leasing, dedicated contract carriage. Transervice, they're the sponsors of our series, and we love them for that. And we're down here in Transervice Victory Lane with our winner, Trey. It's in 2 in a row, Trey. Way to go.
Thanks, man. You go so long without getting another one that you, I guess it's you know, the big momentum's on your side, and then things just, stuff starts falling your way. It's weird how you kind of just, the racing gods start kind of handing things to you after such a kind of rough season.
Reminiscent of Denny Hamlin, 2 wins, and here at this racetrack, it's all about track position, clean air, and just take us through those final 10 laps. You had to be looking in the mirror as much as you were looking out that front windshield.
Yeah, with everybody in our channel, like Fuller and Adam and Macklin, they would keep, you know, like make a little noise. It's kind of like Darrell Waltrip, where he would just kind of make those like random noises. And so I'm over there like wide open mid corner, staring up in the mirror, just trying to watch what the heck's going on behind me. But I told everyone in there, I was like, this feels like a plate race where you're kind of like, you're the leader, you know, you're just chilling. Everyone behind you's kind of hanging out, and you just wait for the intensity just to ramp up, and everything goes out the window. So I was expecting it. Josh, I think he missed a shift, and that was kind of the difference in the race with the way the package is. So I know he's got to feel pretty sick about that. I mean, he's been doing this as long as I have, and to miss a shift, it's brutal. But yeah, I saw him. I think he kind of knew, like, I can't do anything with him. So I saw him back up to try to kind of take care of his tires. So I somewhat did the same thing, just not as hard. I knew I would have a little bit of tire just from having clean air. And I learned my lesson the first run, where I was just out there thinking I'm a hero and leading, and I was never lifting. So yeah, I just tried to not give up the right side. And I kind of knew they were going to form kind of from the start-finish line to turn 1. They would get just massive runs. And then when either Daniel or Kevin were pushing Josh, the run would be even more. So I was just trying to protect the right side. Daniel took advantage of me early in the race on that, and I learned my lesson there. So I was like, y'all can have the left side all day long, but you ain't get to the right rear.
Yeah. 66 laps led here tonight, and looked like you were in control in that final segment. The thing that you'll come to learn is every time they got side by side behind you, they would stall out, and you would drive away, get that cushion again, and well, here you are at Victory Lane. It's got to feel pretty gratifying there, Trey, to get 2 in a row.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I won. I don't remember how many I won last year, 3 or 4, something like that. And so this year, I mean, obviously the competition's way tougher this year, but to get kind of got, let's say, gifted one early in the year with pit strategy at Rockingham, and then just kind of run awful all year long. Kind of got my head on straight, made the playoffs, so it's cool to get 2 in a row, and actually run up front all night long. You know, last week I was in that like 5th to 7th range, stayed out, caught some cautions. But tonight, you know, I was kind of towards the top 5 lead laps. I was just kind of up there all along. I think I told you guys last week, just the playoff gets here, and you just kind of got to be aggressive with everything. Can't just let them go and think, I'll save my tires and I'll get them in 40 laps from now. These guys are too good. So it's really just from the drop of the green, I was hammered down and aggressive on restarts.
There you go. Trey, congratulations on the win. Who helps you get it done on that number 5?
I got to thank Mike Montesi. I don't think he was here tonight, but onsitegassystems.com. Appreciate them coming on board for this season. I don't think it's what they envisioned, but we're seeming to get the ship headed in the right direction here. So thanks to them, thanks to pretty much the whole field that ran up front with me there. I mean, I don't think anyone really did me dirty. I don't think I did anyone dirty. I think King was a little mad about some early contact. I'll have to go back and look at it, but he'll get over it, and I'll get over it, whatever happened. But yeah, thanks to Joey and Macklin and all the admins and all the sponsors and everybody that just makes it possible for us to race every Monday.
There you go. Comes away with a win, locks himself into the next round, and we'll let you go celebrate with your crew. Paul has caught up with our second place finisher, the 23 of Josh Parker.
That's right. Lots of momentum in the 5 camp, but lots of momentum in this 23 camp as well. Josh Parker coming home second. What else did you need to get around that 5-car, Trey Edson?
I think just clean air. He said it. I was actually trying to, on the restart, I thought I was in a good spot because I was definitely confident I could have maybe held off everyone early because they were all going to try to save tires. I was just going to try to use the air to my advantage. And I was actually trying to message Kevin when I was going, and when I screwed up trying to hit enter. I don't know what I did, but it made me be late to shifting, and I ended up losing the lead. And I kind of fought back hard to try to get to Trey, to get in front of him because I knew how important it was, and I burned my tire up a little super early in that run, so I kind of backed down a little bit to try to cool it down and wait till the end, and I just couldn't really do anything.
But a good solid run, running in the top 5 all night here. Good points night, but doesn't quite guarantee the berth into the next round of the playoffs. But we're at Talladega next week. I know personally you've run pretty well there in the past, and I think we're going to see a lot of teammate action at the Super Speedway next week. Any kind of plans going into next week for Talladega, or just kind of winging it?
Honestly, I'm gonna have to look at the point situation. I unfortunately, from being suspended early in the year, I lose my bonus points on my 2 wins, so I'm already starting in the hole. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad Chad came back to 11 because that's the first thing I'm thinking about is I got to help him next week. I just trying to push him early in the race and get him by Fuller, and I ended up just getting into his left rear and spinning him down into Fuller and took out both of them. So yeah, just gonna try to stay out of trouble, just stay up front. I'm decent at super speed racing. It's just with this aero package, it's a little different. So definitely have to be lucky.
So momentum on the side of Josh Parker and company here. Want to let you give you an opportunity here to thank anybody that makes it happen for the virtual 23 car. Easy enough for me to say.
Yeah, everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing from NASCAR Heat Size, Interstate Batteries, Boris, all those guys. My crew chief spotter, Adam, helping me out week in, week out. It was kind of not really an eventful race to calls, but he's there every week. And everyone at Team Name, really sorry to Fuller and Chad. Like I said, I was just trying to help them out. You guys for doing the broadcast, Joey, everyone at SIM500. Appreciate it.
And a solid run for Josh Parker. Moving on with a second place here at Las Vegas, going into Talladega next week with a lot of unknowns. But real quick, we're going to slide it on back down to Kevin England, a little bit further down pit road with Daniel Flockingham, who finished third.
Hey, Daniel, you just heard from your Schoonover stablemate, Josh Parker, for second. And third place, not a bad effort considering the qualifying effort and digging yourself out a hole from the beginning.
Yeah, I kind of forgot how much time was left when I went out to go and qualify, so I didn't have time to get my second lap in. We would have definitely been top 5, top 10 for sure. So I had to make it a little bit interesting there in the first 10 laps and stuff. Had to get a little aggressive and stuff. But we got good top 10 pretty quickly, and then we just got stuck just behind everybody just because we're riding in line, because every time you try to make a move, it doesn't work. You're probably losing like 4 or 5 spots. So yeah, not gonna lie, this race was really infuriating, and I made a lot of moves that were really aggressive, and now I got some people pissed off at me now. So I mean, who cares? I've always felt like I've been a clean racer and stuff, but with these playoff stuff and with how we have to race with this aero package, you gotta turn up the aggression level. So yeah, so I mean, it was a wild race, and yeah, we'll take third for everything that happened.
Yeah, this is reminiscent of a plate race where like a Denny Hamlin, you just got to keep trying to get those positions. And we saw you all night long probing, pushing, diving, trying to get it. But you're in a podium finish and going to maintain the lead of the points. And the points are valuable, right? All these points are going to count. So I can imagine you were elbows up all night long. You must be worn out there.
Yeah, definitely worn out there trying to just this race and stuff, and still that feels good to get all the points. That's key, is getting all the bonus points, or not the bonus points, just regular points, and especially the halfway points too, to build our way into the round of 8 if we don't happen to win a race. So, but yeah, it just feels good to keep knocking out these good finishes. I mean, Trey is starting to get on a tear lately, which is kind of scary, honestly, because I mean, heck, defending champion last year. And usually that's classic Trey. He's making he's usually quiet throughout the regular season, then he turns it up in the playoffs. So definitely got to keep an eye out for him, but definitely got to keep an eye out for all these playoff drivers who may make some sketchy moves up the point standings and stuff. And so yeah, just got to keep an eye on those points and just keep racing the way I always do.
There you go. Daniel Flockingham finishes third here tonight. Who helps you get it done there, Daniel?
Yeah, first rate Bay Lobster 207 for all their support. Also got to thank you guys for being on the broadcast. You guys kill it every single week with the broadcast. Look forward to go back and watching this one. Also got to thank everyone at Team Name: Chad Coleman, David Comstock, Josh Parker, Byron Daly, Rich Beasley, Kevin DeBrown, Pedro Mojica, Toy Woods, anyone else I missed. Thanks to all of them. Thanks to Joey and the admins at SIM500 to run the show. Thanks to Mr. Bill Schoonover. I've been forgetting to mention his name the last few weeks, but we were able to get the team championship for him with me and Josh, so special shout out to him. He bet he's very happy about that. I got to thank Transervice for all they do for the series, and thanks to all the fans who watch us each and every week, and thanks to all my friends and family for watching as well.
There you go, Daniel. I'm sure that those guys are waiting for you to get down there to do the after action report. So let you go.
Yeah, I think I'm about to get confronted by Kevin here in just a minute, so I got to go situate that out first. So I think we'll be cool afterwards. We'll see.
I'm sure you will be.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
See ya.
That's one of the cool things with SIM500. There's no big red trailer after the race. All the drivers just kind of get together and talk about the incidents throughout. So kind of a neat thing. We may very well have to do some sort of post-race show, maybe after the championship race, and get a hot mic in there. But a great race here at Las Vegas for the Transervice Cup Series here with SIM500. Trey Edson on a roll with 2 wins in a row. Last season's champion, Josh Parker, with some momentum as well, and a fired-up number 39, Daniel Flockingham. Things are going to get interesting here at Talladega and at the Charlotte Roval. Taking a peek here at the weekly schedule. Off tomorrow night, Wednesday, in a little doubleheader action with Tim's Corner Motorsports, bringing us Tim's Corner live. And then the Loose Lug Cup Series at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time right after that. Multi-League Cup Series here at 8:30 on Thursday. And there you see at the Neps Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series kicking off Season 3. Can Johnny Two Belts defend? John Peters, 2-time reigning and defending champion, coming back to defend a 3rd time. They're back on the airwaves October 5th at Daytona. We're really looking forward to that action and lots of cool stuff coming up here on Vidane TV. Be sure to check us out on social media: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and over on TikTok. Lots of cool stuff coming up in the fall and winter months, especially kicking it off here this coming week or so. October, very busy month. November, busy month as well. We've got the Bottle Rocket 350 on November 20th. We're going to be kicking that off very, very shortly, opening up registrations, hopefully by the end of the week. But for everybody here at Vidane TV, I am Showtime Paul Strickland Jr. alongside Kevin England from everybody at Transervice and the SIM500 Cup Series. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you on the flip side. When we do, we're going to be doing it live.